All right, shalom. Kohaloim la Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well for teaching me this truth. And salutations to the hopeful elect. All right, the elect of the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, nearby and abroad. All right. To you brothers out there across the globe, pushing the truth with all righteousness and sincerity, doing videos. All right, and praying and fasting, be it according, giving diligence according to your level of faith, and to you few sincere sisters who hearken as well diligently. Peace, love, and blessings. Chaya here back with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And I just want to make this video real quick through the spirit because the Sabbath is tomorrow, and brothers make posts for each other on the YouTube community posts and things of that nature to remind brothers and sisters that the Sabbath, whenever the Sabbath is coming in. Okay, so and the Sabbath is announced every week by the elder apostle Ramlab or just other brothers in general. Okay, so and it's one thing being in his faith. All right, it shows your diligence, man. If you could uphold the Sabbath, to the best of your ability, of course. All right, and for those of you who don't know what the Sabbath is, the word Sabbath, as a matter of fact, before I go into this. I do want that, but before I go into this, let's look up Sabbath, all right? Because in the scriptures, the Lord commanded the children of Israel through Moses to keep the Sabbath day. All right, so let's go ahead and look at what Sabbath is. All right, so this is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 8. It says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy." Verse 9, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath day of the Lord Yahweh thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. All right. So with those four scriptures right there, that's pretty much outlining the basics of the Sabbath. All right. So the Sabbath, when you go into it, so let's do that. Verse 8. All right. It says, "Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy." All right. So it's Shabbat. Now this is the Assyrian Hebrew. All right. And it's read from right to left. So from right to left, the characters are Shah, Ba, and Tha. All right, Shabbath. All right, Shabbath. Okay. And it says Sabbath, Day of Atonement, which is incorrect. All right. The Sabbath is not the Day of Atonement. All right. And it says let me see. There we go. Shabbath. All right. Here's where it comes from. It says to cease, desist, rest. All right, to cease, to rest, desist. Okay. Yeah, and that's pretty much the point. So the word Sabbath or Shabbath, all right, in the Paleo Hebrew, Shabbath, okay, it means to cease from work, all right, or to rest. And resting is essentially ceasing from work. All right, so now what does that include is, basically what I want to go into concerning this video. What does that include? All right, so work, in the ancient world, that would be us, farming, all right, doing our daily activities like buying and selling in the ancient world, mind you. All right, that included making sporting with our wives. All right. All right, that included, it's because all of those things are in the the margin of work. All right, yes, sporting with your wife or your wives is considered work. Okay. Buying and selling is considered work. All right, the Lord wanted us to cease from work on the Sabbath day. Okay, and how do you identify the Sabbath? All right, so let's go. Before we identify that. All right, the Sabbath or the moon. The Sabbath is dictated by the moon. Okay, and just to prove that, we're gonna go ahead and get into the book of Ecclesiasticus called Sirach, chapter 43. In verse 6, it says, "He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Okay, so you see how Muslims, they follow a lunar structure. All right, the Muslims follow a lunar calendar. All right, well, you got to think about who they got that from. All right, that came from the Hebrew Israelites. That came from us. That came from our culture. All right, so the moon dictates, which the word moon means month. You can look that up. All right, La Luna. All right, the moon dictates the signs and the times. Okay, the moon actually dictates the new day, not the sun. All right. It says, from the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. All right. Now the light that decreases in her perfection, okay, it's talking about the new moon. Okay. And the new moon is how we're able to know when the Sabbath comes in. All right. Like, say, for example, right now, the Sabbath right now is from Wednesday sundown to Thursday sundown. Salakia. The Sabbath right now is from Wednesday sundown to Thursday sundown. Okay. So the moon is a sign of feast, and not just the Sabbath day, but the Day of Atonement. Okay. The Feast of First Fruits. All right. The Passover. All right. So the Sabbath dictates, all right, the months and the times. All right. The new moon, Salakia, the new moon dictates the months and the times of what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, so when the Sabbath comes in, all right, the new moon is also going to be present with it. All right, when the Sabbath comes in, the new moon is going to be present. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And even more proof of that, all right, we could find in the book of Isaiah, Yeshaya. I actually want to get that. You know what? No, it doesn't matter. I got the point. I want to get that in the book of Isaiah, chapter 1. And I'm going to go down to, I'll start at verse 13. All right, because Israel, our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we dishonored, really all of the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, but we did pollute the Sabbath, man. All right, because you had, Jakes in the ancient world, just as wicked as Jakes now today, are who pollute and dishonor the Lord and pollute the Lord's Sabbaths. Okay. So it says, Isaiah 1 and 13, it says, bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with it. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Okay, so the Lord, and you're going to see this a lot throughout the scriptures. If you type in new moon in the search query or Sabbath in the search query, okay, they're usually going to pop up together. The Sabbath and the new moon, they usually pop up together. All right, it's not every single scripture, but the Sabbath is associated with the new moon, okay, because that's how the Sabbath is determined. That's how the seventh day is determined, okay? But it says on the new moons and the Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, because remember, in Sirach, Ecclesiastic is called Sirach, the 43rd chapter, okay? It says what? So like I went down way too much. It says, verse 6, Sirach 43 and 6, he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. So there you go. It's saying it's letting you know right there, okay, that the new moon and the Sabbath, okay, is the same thing. All right, so going back to Isaiah 1 and 13, well, jumping to 14 now, it says, your new moons and your appointed feasts my soul hateth. They are a trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. Yeah, because Jake was defiled and was and shed so much blood among the innocent, man. All right, with hearkening unto false prophets. All right, serving the gods of other nations. All right, willingly committing sin and then offering burnt offerings to the Lord. That's why the Lord did away with burnt offerings, man. Okay, because Jake would go off and be like, the Lord will forgive me, and that sounds like Jake today. The Lord know my heart. The Lord got my back. I'm saved anyway. I could do whatever I want until the Lord comes back. It's like, nah, man. But that's a topic for another day. All right. Also wanted to get this in Isaiah, continuing on in Isaiah chapter 58, verse 13. All right. It says, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, all right, which means to cease from work, all right, which means to rest, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day. All right, so doing thy pleasure. All right, what are some things pleasurable to Jake? All right, sporting with his woman. All right, gambling. All right, in today's age, playing video games. All right, watching, you know, watching a bunch of folly on TV. All right, going out partying. All right. So we're not supposed to be seeking to please ourselves on the Sabbath. That also includes, masturbation for the brothers and sisters that do it. That also does include that. All right. We're supposed to be abstaining from our pleasures on the Sabbath day. Now, with that being said, you can watch a documentary or you can watch a spiritual movie and things of that nature. And, you could do videos on the Sabbath. Okay. You can camp on the Sabbath. All right. You could do things like that, things, pleasing to the Lord. Okay, but remember that what? It's a rest day, okay? Ceasing from any type of pleasure. Okay? So we're supposed to just, straight flat out rest on that day. But and here's the mercy. Now, given, the captivity of our captivity of today, we can't keep the Sabbath 100%. So if a brother or sister, if you got to work on the Sabbath, then you got to do what you got to do. Okay, you can't just hit your bus and be like, yo, I follow the new moon and it's a Sabbath, it's a rest day, so every 4 weeks I'm gonna be taking a day off from my normal schedule. Like you can't do that. I mean, if you can, if you're in that capacity to do that, all right, then by all means. But if you can't, then don't try to shoot for it. Okay, but because Esau truly don't. These so-called white people, they don't care about, what I'm saying, us upholding and upkeeping our customs. Okay, so if you can get away with it, then by all means. But if you can't, then don't even bother. All right, the Lord gotta get busy with our enemies anyway. But going back to the scripture, it says, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, Yahweh honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. Okay, and this is what you're gonna find the elect doing. All right, the brothers that truly believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, starting with the elders and the apostles. Okay, this is what you're going to find brothers, sincere brothers doing, honoring the Sabbath. All right, delighting in the Lord on the Sabbath. You could pray on the Sabbath, you could fast on the Sabbath, you could sleep on the Sabbath. All right, just don't be indulging in your own pleasure. Okay, if I'm being honest, it's pretty straightforward, but you got a lot of jakes out here that's just like, oh, well, the brother didn't say, the scriptures didn't say I can't do this. And, it just, you want to keep things simple, man. All right, so no folly. Long story short, no folly on the Sabbath day. Okay? Isaiah, what was that? 66 and 23. All right, and then I'll close out because I pretty much hit the point. Isaiah 66 and 23, it says, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. So you see that? All right, once again, anytime you put new moon in the search bar, okay, the Sabbath will usually pop up with it. It's not in every single scripture, but it's in most scriptures. The new moon and Sabbath, they're synonymous. All right, the Sabbath is dictated by the new moon. Okay, and like the scripture said in whatchamacallit, in the book of Exodus, all right, where it said what the Lord made the heavens and the earth in 6 days. Okay, well, and if you could receive it, it's talking about the angels, but that's a topic for another time. All right, brothers and sisters in the know, if you know, you know. All right, but yeah, the long story short, the Lord created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. Okay, or 6,000 years, if you can receive it once again. Okay, and he rested on the 7,000th year. Okay, or on the 7th day. All right, and we're supposed to be doing the same on earth. Okay, we're supposed to rest after 6 days. We're supposed to have one day to rest after 6 days. Okay, so once again, it's really not that hard to understand, but you got certain guys out there that just like, oh, you can sleep with your woman on a Sabbath and yada yada yada, and they just push a whole bunch of wayward doctrines. All right, so that's just a few things that I wanted to go over. Like I said, if you can help not working on the Sabbath, then do so. But if you got to work, then you know what I'm saying. The Lord knows your heart, right? And I'm saying that in a righteous sense, okay? But no sleeping with your woman, no going to parties. All right, it's a holy day. All right, the Lord hollowed the Sabbath day out so we could rest. Okay, so with that being said, Lord's willing, this is edifying. Shalom.